Well, we have a late season rain. I think today is May 17th, 2020. It's going to rain a little bit today and tomorrow. Definitely this very light, misty rain has woken up the scents in a native plant garden. It's too bad there isn't some way to record that. Anyway, I just wanted to continue showing some of the volunteers that have basically filled in this garden from relatively small amount of original material. Actually, what we're looking at here is a one of the larger patches of golden yarrow. It's really not a yarrow. Probably mangle, the Latin name. It's I've forgotten. Eriophyllum confertifolium, perhaps. Anyway, it is related to a yarrow. It's in the sunflower family. Anyway, I have never bought yellow yarrow from a nursery, and it certainly wasn't on this property when I first moved in. But from a couple of cuttings, basically have established this large patch right here. It volunteers freely, and it has spread to other patches in the distance. It's all yellow yarrow with a little deerweed. So some of the so you can see some of the other volunteers here. Volunteers pretty freely. And while I was looking around, I noticed that there is a California fuchsia volunteer right there. We have a large patch of it around 20 feet away, so I'm sure that's where it came from. Some of the other things that are volunteering here is a Phacelia. I planted a few of them here several years ago, and they will throw seedlings, and some of the parent plants have actually withered away, but the seedlings seem to be much more durable. Probably developed their root system from scratch, and it's much more viable in the soil. There's little surprises like coyote bush. Those spring up all over the place, and I'll let them go occasionally if I want a coyote bush in a particular spot. Also, there are some seedling checker bloom. So this one has spread a little bit. There's some other leaves down there. So introduced these many years ago, and some of them survive and other ones do not. So this particular patch of golden yarrow has a lot of monkey flower in it, and also California fescue. So they seem to be the three that associate with one another here, and are pretty happy. So any patch of bare ground like this, what's meant to be a citrus and avocado orchard, we've walled it off from the deer. Lots of stuff volunteers in here. I've actually dug up quite a bit already. It's, I have to admit, it's been a bit of a bust as far as a citrus orchard. For some reason they just don't like it here. They do well in other parts of our property. But yeah, just a continuous source of monkey flower. There are some deerweed that throw a lot of seedlings. Those are way too big, the ones to try to dig out right now. But this one right here is just about the right size. So I'm going to water the ground around it, and I should be able to rescue that, put it in a pot before it gets too much bigger, and transplant it next fall. There's also some monkey flower there. But I've pulled quite a bit of stuff out of here already. So this bare ground, obviously certain amount of weeds come in here as well. I just keep it weeded. It's a little bit like the path that goes through the garden. It's a bit of an open area without any competition from other plants, and it's just a continuous source of seedlings that I can replant and put in different areas of the garden. Here is the matriarch big leaf maple. Planted that from a 5-gallon that we picked up in a local nursery many years ago. Actually kept it in a pot for a couple of years, not knowing exactly where to put it, and then decided to put it here. That's probably about 20 years of growth. Anyway, it has survived one traumatic episode with a male young buck deer, and still bears the scars. But it is a continual source of big leaf maple seedlings. Let me show you. And I have taken a few from it, actually quite a few, given some away, and a couple of pretty good sized big leaf maples down in the lower meadow of our garden are rescued from this spot right here. So you can see, there they are. There's a few seedlings, big leaf maple seedlings. There's a little guy right there. Another one right there. There's probably a couple dozen scattered around here. Actually, you don't want them to be too big because they send down a root that's a lot bigger than the leaves on top, and you really can't sever that root, or else it's going to be very difficult for the seedling to survive. So this is just about the right time to gather them. Yeah, there was a big windstorm a couple of weeks ago, and knocked a lot of the new leaves that had just come out. That's the reason all these green leaves are scattered around here. So the sun has come out nicely, and I just wanted to get a closing shot of these raindrops on the silver bush lupin.